Greater Sandton and beyond. Get ready for the Sandton Times Hour
with your host,
Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, welcome to the Sandton Times Hour, also available on all leading digital audio platforms. It's edition 162. It's week 25 of 2024. And if you'd like to get in touch, you can do so using the email address editor@sandtontimes.co.za or connecting on social media at Sandton Times and share your thoughts, your questions, your comments, your feedback. All of those are welcome. And if you want to do some reading, you can hop onto the website, www.sandtontimes.co.za. A very special welcome to everyone listening to the very first time, or if you're listening for the 100th time, you're also welcome. And I know you're tuning in from across the nation, including Johannesburg and Pretoria, of course, Greater South Africa, and everywhere else in the world, either on I think the cold is getting to me, Vincenzo. So let's try that again. Either online or on air, and wherever you are, I'm happy to report that all is well in Sandton land, even though we're living through the strangest of times and the coldest of times. I actually don't quite know how else to heat the house. I even got the gas bottle refilled just to try and use that a bit more. But I don't know. It's just this horrible cold. Everyone's been talking about it, and I don't really want to go on about it. But you know, we're all going through the same things. I mean, we're already talking about when is summer coming back. But anyway, we're gonna have to just suck it up and get through the next 2 months. So as you've heard, Vincenzo is defrosting behind the mixing desk, and I hope you've had a great, relaxing, and as I said, hopefully warm Youth Day long weekend, and you've had a chance to watch a bit of soccer with the Euro 2024 kicking off. Do we have a government, Vincenzo? I haven't been keeping tabs. Should probably check in before the show starts as to what's going on and who's running, who's the manager, who's running the place. We'll find out, and we'll let you know in the coming week. I headed out of town into a remote place, probably with very little reception and very little connection to the greater society at large, but it was a well-deserved mini break, and it was fabulous, marking some milestones, which is always good, and some time spent with the extended family, which is always nice. Then, an interesting past week in general. There were quite a few menu launches, a lot of restaurants, a lot of hotels launching their winter menus, with all those winter goodies. I think we spoke about it last week. And then you get to September and you think, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have had that extra serving of whatever. Insert favorite dessert, insert favorite main dish that includes calories and cream. So that's what we're talking about there. Then there was also a new bar that opened in Rosebank called Obscura. So they do some very sort of bougie cocktails, if you're into your cocktails. And they do some very nice food as well. Here we go. This is going to be a topic for the next 3 months. Fancy food, indulgent food, and, of course, the drinks that go with it. So I feel like this is going to be a bit of a thing. Highly recommended. But we're going to talk about some of these things during the next hour as well. But, this week is going to be very relaxed. The show is going to be very relaxed. We're not going to do anything too heavy, maybe apart from a couple of the dishes. So let's check out what we're talking about this week. First up, I'll be bringing you an interview I did at a lunch. Here we go already. At a lunch this week, as a Sandton hotel has launched its winter menu, and there's some delicious dishes there. Then, sandwiched in between all this discussion around food, Miss South Africa 2024 is underway, and I'll be chatting to 2 of the top 30 finalists, hoping to make it to the next round. One of them is from Sandton, which is quite nice. And then there's a new restaurant that's opened in Waterfall. If you're in that area, they're Midrand. I'll bring you an interview I did with the owner during a brunch this past week, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy that as well. All this and more in the next hour.
Connect with the Sandton Times. Email editor@sandtontimes.co.za.
So this past week, I joined the team at the Sandton Sun Towers in the heart of Sandton as they served up their winter menu for 2024. We were ranging from some all-time favorites like oxtail, Vincenzo, and corn chicken soup. It's like almost like a chowder. Oh, it was also good. And of course, there's also some newfound favorites. I believe they do an incredible twist on an Eggs Benedict. I think it's called a Johannesburg's Benedict or Josie Benedict. And they do it on a vetkoek, on a magwinya with mince and all kinds of very South African flavors. So I didn't have a chance to try that, but it sounded unbelievably good. So I'm going to have to go back there for breakfast at some point. But I caught up with the food and beverage manager, Trevor Wolverson, and I kicked off our chat by asking him about the hotel's food offering.
We've got a unique offering in that we run two different businesses essentially, or we say that, but I mean we have our market segmented. So we've got Sand Restaurant and Sand Deck, and besides that we've got our banqueting offering and a whole lot of other things that we can do, you know, besides just what's in the restaurant or on the deck. And we also look after Sandton Towers. It's under refurbishment at the moment, but there's a restaurant there called Atrium that we look after. So that really in a nutshell is our food and beverage offering.
And the Sand Deck has been a very popular spot for people to come and have sundowners, to have drinks, even dinner in Sandton. It's just one of those spots you have to visit.
Oh, absolutely. So the Sand Deck is obviously our most popular outlet in the hotel, particularly busy over weekends when people are taking a break or getting off some steam at the end of the week. Particularly over weekends when we have DJs, that's when the Sand Deck is the busiest. And yeah, it's like our gem here.
Talk us through the winter menu. You've now launched that now. What is sort of the thinking behind it? What are some of sort of the highlights of this menu?
So some of the stuff that we did during the COVID time, which we're still coming out of, is that we rationalized our menu and condensed it into one. Now that we're out of that, we've segmented the menu back into two, where we have just the exclusive restaurant menu and then the Sand Deck menu, which focuses more on the casual dining, whilst the restaurant menu focuses more on the fine dining elements of the hotel. And yeah, both it's been trial and error over the times, but we've focused our Sand Deck menu mainly on casual dining, because when people come out, they're sharing things, and yeah, it's a menu that's geared for sharing and for more casual dining.
And now with this winter menu, it seems like you've got much heartier dishes on there. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but salads are just not something to have in winter.
No, I think people are, like you said, looking for warm, hearty stuff, things that make you feel warm inside when you eat it, and it makes you feel full. So we've got some soups that we've added to the menu, particularly the one that we've added now is our grilled chicken chowder soup, which is very hearty. And then yeah, some of the stuff that's we're trialing, some new fish dishes, some pasta dishes, all of the type of stuff that really goes well with winter.
So when you say you're trialing something, do you often find that you put something on the menu, you get some feedback and you make some adjustments, or you change it, or you take something off, or you put something on?
Yeah, absolutely. So all part of what we do in our industry is trial and error. We try things, we innovate things. Some things work for the most part, some things don't. We do try and tweak things a bit, but once we see it's not working, we then move along and try something different, but always continuing to push the boundaries and try new different things.
I found one of the themes that came up during our tasting as well was the understanding of where things come from.
Yes.
How you source it,
Yes.
also sourcing locally. Is that sort of very much a big focus point in terms of the menu, not just what happens on the guest side, but also what happens behind the scenes?
Yeah, so the Sand Restaurant is obviously named after the Sand people, which were hunter-gatherers, and what they believed in is to only use what you need. Don't ever have anything in excess, and we carry that theme through in our menu in that we source things locally, all our ingredients. We make sure that they come from sustainable places, mostly with fair practices as well, and that's a very important part of when we're putting our menu together, that we have ingredients that are sustainable but are also responsibly sourced.
Is there a particular dish on the menu that you really enjoy in terms of some of the new winter lineup?
Absolutely. So the grilled sea bass with lime spaghetti, that is a winner for me. I tasted it a little bit earlier on today, and the lime spaghetti absolutely complements that sea bass, and I thought it was amazing. And I hope that it does well on the new menu, and I'm sure it will.
I mean, one of the other things that Sandton Sun has also almost championed is the wine menu and the wine offering, and I also want you to touch on the pricing as well, because it is priced at a very, very competitive rate as well.
Absolutely.
But you've also brought in some new wines into the mix, and obviously that plays a big part in pairing with the meal.
Yes, absolutely. So Miguel Chan, our sommelier, he's constantly engaging winemakers, looking in the market for those absolute gems, things that you wouldn't find anywhere else. I mean, you wouldn't find it in a Willie's wine section or whatever. So whatever we have on our menu, you generally won't find it anywhere else, because we've secured small batches. So that makes our wine menu so unique. And because we've got such unique offering, we also price it competitively in the market, mainly to drive a wine drinking market as well, so that we encompass everything through our menus.
That was Food and Beverage Manager Trevor Wolverson at the Sandton Sun Towers, chatting about the new winter menu, perfect as temperatures are through the ground in Greater Sandton, and we're all feeling like we need something to warm us up. After a quick break, I chat to executive sous chef at the hotel, Shimmy Sello.
Online, on air,
Anywhere, anytime.
this is the Sandton Times Hour.
So I was telling you about a fabulous menu tasting I had the chance of attending this week at the Sandton Sun Towers, and after lunch, I grabbed some time with the executive sous chef at the hotel, Shimmy Sello, and asked him about how he got started at the hotel.
Funny enough, I started doing the engineering course, but I was more of a chef, so I had to change along my way. So I came here as a trainee. That was in 2004. I came as a trainee. I did my training, and luckily they hired me because of my hard work, and I never looked back after that. So yeah, I've been climbing all the ladders, so I'm here.
So you went from figuring out how to construct buildings and bridges to constructing dishes on a plate.
Yeah, definitely that, yeah.
And do you find that there's a lot of similarities in the two professions, or would you say that they're vastly different?
I would say I enjoy being a chef right now, because I never went deep into electronics, engineering. But I wanted to be a chef, and I found myself here. And luckily, I worked with most of the heavyweights like James Koza and the Kashiniers. So I'm here and I'm enjoying every moment. So there's no any other course that I will look outside being a chef.
I mean, for those people who like cooking at home, they would say it's a fun thing to do. But I reckon in your profession, it's a totally different kettle of fish. It's hard work.
It is hard work, because you tend to get you come across the very big diverse. Most people are coming here, international, local. I mean, you have to make sure everybody who comes here and who lives the Sandton Sun Hotel is satisfied to whatever they wanted.
Well, listen, I'm glad you touched on that, because you do have a lot of internationals coming here. You've got the convention centre next door. A lot of people naturally gravitate towards the Sandton Sun because of that convenience of being able to walk there. Do you find that you have to put unique things on the menu to entice those international visitors who want a taste of South Africa, who want to feel and the flavours of what South Africa has to offer?
Of course, yeah. We tend to change the menus to suit our guests, obviously. And I can tell you now, that's the most interesting and most rewarding time of your job, because you want to wake up and come here and create more dishes and different diverse dishes. And yeah, that's very rewarding. Yeah.
You've now launched this new winter menu. Talk us through that. What is it all about? What was the inspiration behind it? And how did you decide what dishes to put on and what dishes to leave off?
Okay, obviously we had to look at the sourcing of our food. We more into local food. We like sourcing locally. And then obviously changing the scene, going into winter. So you have to look into more hearty dishes, dishes that are warming you. But if you can see the menu, we try to keep it healthy as well. Our menus, we don't use spices that much. We're more into herbs, and like it's Sun Kitchen. It's we take from the ground. So we use more herbs than spices, because spices are not that healthy. So yeah, that was the thinking behind the whole menu.
And do you find that there's any sort of major trends that are driving a lot of what's being put on a plate these days?
Of course, yeah. We going healthy. I mean, everybody's going healthy right now. So if you can check the menu, like the potato gnocchi, it's made fresh and there's less fat, and So we're going healthy as well. So that's a trend that we always look after. Yeah.
And I've also spotted a couple of vegetarian dishes on the menu there.
Of course, yeah, the gnocchi that I'm talking about, that's one of my favorite dishes. Yeah, you should try that. I mean, it's a hit. Yeah.
Any other recommendations from the kitchen of dishes that you particularly enjoy that people should try?
Oh yeah, our classic oxtail dish. That's always been a classic, and it's one of our big sellers. We sell almost half a ton of oxtail per month.
Half a ton?
So that says a number. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
And in terms of some of the fish dishes, I see you've got quite a bit of fish on the menu as well.
Oh yes, we've got salmon, we've got sea bass, we've got sole. We try to go diverse as well. Like I was saying, we've got more of international guests. So some people are very specific. When he comes here, he needs to get whatever he wants. So whatever is even salmon, sea bass, mussels, we've got a big diverse of seafood. Yeah.
So that was Sandton Sun Towers executive sous chef Shimmy Sello. Say that 3 times quickly, eh? Sous chef Shimmy Sello. You got to be on top of your game here, let me tell you. And if you do get a chance, go check out the winter menu and do try the oxtail with the creamy mashed potatoes. It's delicious. It falls off the bone, then you know. And I also paired that with a glass of Great Heart Franschhoek Cabernet Franc, and it was the perfect dish for a cold winter's day. Red wine and oxtail. I say no more.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
And as we get going into the second half of the Sandton Times Hour, don't forget that if you caught something interesting on the show this week, but you didn't get all the details, you missed some names, or you don't know what we were talking about, you can jump onto the website, sandtontimes.co.za. We'll put the show notes up there as we do every single week, and you can do some more reading. There's some further links, and you can just get up to speed with what's going on. I've also heard that a lot of people like listening to this show on the website and then browse the website while they're listening to the show. So however you like it, you can do that. And you can also follow the Sandton Times on all social media platforms at Sandton Times. It's the same on all of them, and you can get in touch there as well. Tweet, post, DM, voice note, whatever you like. And be part of the conversation, be part of the brand and the show. Right, Miss South Africa is back, as it is every single year, and I'm trying to think how many years I've been doing this now, but I think it's been since 2020. We've been having conversations with Miss South Africa hopefuls. This year it's for 2024, and the top 30 have been announced. The voting's happened, so if you were thinking of voting, well, that's over for now, in terms of the top 30 moving into the top 25. But I thought let's get 2 of the top 30 on anyway, get to know them, and cross our fingers and hope for the best that they will continue on this journey. And our first Miss South Africa Top 30 finalist is Sherry Wang. She represents Sandton, so that makes sense that she's chatting to us. She's in Sunninghill. She's in HR, and she has a degree in international relations from Wits. And Sherry, it's good to have you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And then, now you've got top 30 to choose from. Now we had to sort of draw some straws, pick some names out of a hat, and had to get somebody outside of Sandton because there's only one person representing Sandton in this entire competition. And that's Kaylan Zeelie. She's originally from the Eastern Cape. I believe she now lives in Bloemfontein, and she's pursuing an LLB. So Kaylan, it's good to have you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you so much for having me, Alex. It's so nice to be here.
Well, it's good to have both of you. And let's get chatting about this. Sherry, correct me if I'm wrong, but this isn't your first time round in Miss South Africa.
No, it's not. It's my 4th time actually entering Miss South Africa. 2nd time getting into the top 30s.
Listen, I mean, it's quite impressive. I mean, after the first time, I know there's many Miss South Africas many contestants who've tried to enter Miss South Africa who did it once and they said that was more than enough. I'm not coming back again. I'm done with this. To enter 4 times is, a whole nother level of having to deal with rejection and questioning, if I'm going to do this ever again. Making it a 2nd time round, why the persistence? Why have you just not let go and decided to just walk away from it?
Alex, the first time that I entered back in 2020, I actually got a lot of backlash for entering. People told me that I'm not allowed to enter because I'm not South African, inverted commas. I don't look South African. I'm not South African. Why am I entering? And also around the time of coronavirus. So you can imagine the comments that I was getting, on Twitter with my entry video. And so the reason why I keep on wanting to enter is I want to prove those people wrong. Like, I'm here. I'm entering Miss South Africa. I am South African. I have every right to enter. And so my persistence in that is just to prove those people wrong, to show them that I'm actually doing something with my life instead of being a keyboard warrior. I'm entering Miss South Africa. I made it to the top 30. What are you doing? And so that's part of the reason why I keep on wanting to enter Miss South Africa and keep coming back.
And maybe just to qualify that, you are of Asian descent, so you are South African born, but you obviously your family have come from somewhere else outside of South Africa.
Yes, that's correct. My family is from China, Shanghai more specifically, but I was born in South Africa. I was born and raised here, went to school here. South Africa's my home. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's great. And then, Kaylan, what drove you to enter Miss South Africa this year?
I think for me at a young age, I was always looking up to the organization as a little girl, and I always had that dream, and it was something I really bonded over with my grandmother, and we always used to tease each other about how I would enter one day and how I would just be that light and beacon of hope for other girls around the world, knowing that you don't have to worry about your circumstances or the background or where you're coming from or your history. It's just you and the panel and you believing in yourself, knowing that you can achieve this. So for me, it was a big thing about getting that message over to all the girls around the world. I think social media has created something that you have to be this perfect size, you have to look this perfect to wear that crown and represent South Africa. And for me, it was not that message I wanted to represent to the girls all over the world.
Well, look, it's interesting. Both of you have touched on quite an interesting 2024 topic. And I mean, it's been around for quite some time now. But it goes back to this exposure that you get when you get onto Miss South Africa, which on one hand is very favorable. On the other hand, especially online, Sherry was just referring to the keyboard warriors. You do put yourself out for quite a bit of abuse. And Kaylan, did you experience any sort of backlash once you started uploading your video, once you started getting into the top 30?
Alex, I would say I did receive a bit of backlash, but I usually have this mindset, the same as Sherry, is that when you know why you are entering this competition, I really do feel the messages I received from girls on the platform saying how I inspired them to follow their dreams. I think it was worth the backlash. I think it was worth the keyboard warriors. I don't know.
Yeah, Sherry, did you also get some favorable feedback as well? I mean, it wasn't just sort of the trolls running around with pickaxes and torches.
Absolutely not. It's not just the pickaxes and torches. I got a lot of support from people that I don't even know, friends and family, of course, and that is what I was focusing on this year as well. Yeah, so thank you to all those that really showed their support. Yeah.
Indeed. I mean, often people refer to the fact that they're doing this because they would like to show somebody that sounds like them, that looks like them, that is like them, that it's possible to achieve great things. Sherry, was there a Miss South Africa of the past that inspired you to follow in their footsteps and say, you know what, I want to do this because of what I saw on television or on social media or whatever it was back in the days?
I am Chinese South African, and there hasn't been any Miss South Africa that looks like me, that really has my background. I wouldn't say that there was a specific Miss South Africa that really truly inspired me to enter, because I didn't have that person to look up to or inspired me in that way. But I mean, one of the Miss South Africas that I really, truly would love to meet one day is Tamron Green. She's a doctor, and I follow her on Instagram, and just like looking at her page, she really manages her life well. She's a doctor, she's studying, she's married. She just makes it look so easy, and that's kind of the inspiration that I want for my life, is to juggle all of this and still make it look good.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Tamron Green, she's the ultimate inspiration for me.
All right. And Kaylan, who's your Tamron Green? Who's the Miss South Africa that you looked up to when you were sitting with your grandmother and said, I want to do that one day?
So Alex, just a bit of context. I didn't have the financial needs to go to university, so I studied for a bursary as well. And I think given my background, I thought I wasn't good enough of entering Miss South Africa. And then Natasha Yobat's story came, and the way she got the money and the funds for other people putting them through university. I think for me, she's one of the persons I do really look up to, and she gave me that hope of no matter your circumstances, if you work hard, you can achieve anything.
Absolutely. No, for sure. And I mean, Natasha Joubert, I must say, has probably been one of our great Miss South Africas. And sorry to see her reign obviously come to an end at the end of this year, but somebody else will have to fill her shoes. And knowing Natasha, she's probably going to keep it going long after she has made it, or finished off her reign. Kaylan, you're now pursuing law as a degree. Why did you decide to go into the legal space?
So I've always dreamed of being a lawyer and becoming an advocate. I think it's one of those careers where women really do tend to get the small end of everything. I think for men, it's always that women can't do that because they're too soft. And as a young girl, my mom always, she taught me to just follow your dreams and do what you want to do. And from a small age, I love to help people. And I know with that platform, I can advocate for a lot of people.
Any particular law that you're looking to go into? Because I know there's so many different variants and categories of law that you can go into.
So we started our business. So I want to pursue contract law. We started our own, so I do our own contracts for our business. So I think with that, I gained a love for that. So
okay, fantastic.
So commercial.
And Sherry, I mean, you're in HR at the moment. You did study international relations. Is that something that you potentially want to pursue somewhere down the line, sort of representing South Africa or any other country or any other sort of organization on an international stage?
100%. That's the reason why I studied international relations, is I wanted to become ambassador for South Africa and obviously, work on relations between China and South Africa because of my ties with the two countries. So 100% I'd like to revisit that in the future. If the opportunity arises, it's definitely something I'd go back into.
In terms of Miss South Africa, what are you hoping that the platform and the experience will leave you with? What are you hoping to take away, irrespective of how far you go or where this all ends up? Is there something that you're hoping that you'll take away from it? Let's kick off with Sherry.
Well, obviously we've already established our friendships. So that's one of the main things that I wanted, was to meet new girls and make new friends from different provinces, different backgrounds. So that I already have.
Is it like a top 30 WhatsApp group? Do you guys sort of all get added to a WhatsApp group and then you chat to each other?
Yes, we have each other. The minute we meet each other, we follow each other on Instagram, we add each other on WhatsApp, we chat. The friendships that are made through this journey is incredible. So that's something that that I already have from just joining Miss SA, and that's something that I wanted from the beginning. And also just to gain more confidence in public speaking, in chatting to people, in meeting people that that you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is quite a remarkable program. I know Miss South Africa puts the finalists through some really rigorous tests, but also some really rigorous training and exposure. Kaylan, what are you hoping to take away from this experience?
So already, like Sherry said, meeting the girls, I thought walking away with not new friends, but sisters, a lot of sisterhood. And I think coming there and meeting everyone, it was like, you see this platform and you think, oh, it's competition, it's this. But I can really say walking away, I found new sisters that I want to share our goals with. And I would say, going there, I didn't have a lot of confidence. I know if you're entering something like this, you should by now have your confidence. But walking away, I can really say there's a few things I know I need to work on. I know I need to work on my public speaking as well. Overall, I would say as well, confidence, walking away with a lot of confidence.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad to have at least dipped into Miss South Africa Top 30 this year to start with. Who's vying for the crown? Obviously, we couldn't interview all 30 finalists all at the same time. It would have been like a panel discussion or a huge debate. It would have been impossible.
Alex, you love it.
Well, you know what? Be careful what you wish for, hey? So we're waiting to see what the finalists are going to be going into the top 25. The voting's closed for top 30. Top 25 is next. If you want to get to know some of the other Miss South Africa top 30s, please go onto the Sandton Times website. We've got everyone on there. You can read up a little bit on them and get to know them. But as it gets less and less, we're going to also just check in again and see who makes it into the final rounds. And once again, also we're going to try and get an interview with the winner this year for Miss South Africa. But Sherry Wang representing Sandton and Kaylan Zeelie representing Uitenhage, Eastern Cape / Bloemfontein. Thank you so much for making the time to be on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you for having us.
Alex.
Amazing.
Keep warm.
Well, indeed. Thank you. Well, we're going to take a quick break and more of the Sandton Times Hour right after this.
The latest news.
The biggest names.
the best destinations,
the hottest entertainment. This is the Sandton Times Hour.
In a minute, I'll play you an interview I did with Puleng Mathabathe, owner of Math, which is a new restaurant in Waterfall. I had a chance to join him for a brunch this week to get to know this new dining spot a bit better. And I warn you, we had some issues with the audio, which is really disappointing because I only found this out once we got back to the studio to start editing all of this together for you, and discovered that somehow halfway through this interview, the microphone's disconnected, which is frustrating to say the least. So apologies for our tardiness, but I'm going to give you as much as we had, and that is the first part. So I kicked off with our chat by asking him about his journey with food.
So I think since I was a kid, I think I've always been extremely interested in food and places to congregate. I grew up in a family that was very entrepreneurial. So I think growing up, having that lenience towards food and wanting to have a business has always been in my heart. But then I went to university, as you know how parents are often, and I studied finance, and then I practiced marketing, and then I just felt I was not in the right place, right? I constantly ran things in the background of having, events companies, where we'd have food and the food would be great. And we'd sell that experience to people and people would buy it. And then obviously I think after that, I think maybe some 3-4 years ago, I decided then to start my journey into this particular part of culinary experiences. And then I found myself having to go with a franchise before I did this because I needed to kind of understand what it takes to kind of run a space like this. But now where we are now, I think we've been able to develop something that's very different from what people experience and have done before.
Tell me a little bit more about the name Math. Where did that come from?
So Math comes from a very long part of my journey, right? So my late dad had named one of our main businesses back at home, which was one of the pivotal places in the Limpopo little township that I'm from, where we had a hardware store. He named it Math, and going through my whole life, I didn't really understand why it was named Math until I think when I was in high school, I got to understand that Math was the first four letters of my surname.
And that's unfortunately where our audio abandoned us and became inaudible enough for us not to be able to play you the rest of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try and fill you in on the rest of that conversation. So Math at Waterfall Corner in Waterfall, if you're familiar with the area. They also have a really great cocktail bar, and they've got a couple of signature cocktails. They've got Math's Cup. They also do some really great mimosas as well, if you want to go check that out. But we had a chance to do a bit of a brunch, which was really nice. And we got to try a little bit of everything, when they sort of do like a bit of a taster menu. So you get like a small dishes, but you get to try everything on the menu, which is my favorite thing. And they've also introduced something now at the spot where they've got like a gathering table. So essentially you bring your friends, your family, a bit of both, or somebody completely different. And they sort of plate it and present it in such a way that you can kind of pick and share, which is really nice. So if you're feeling like Eggs Benedict and something else, you don't have to just sit with your plate and hope for the best. You can literally push the food envy to one side and have a little bit of everything. So what do we get to try? We tried the farmhouse breakfast, which is, an all-time classic. It's the usual sort of beef sausage and eggs and hash browns and grilled tomatoes and those things. Then the Eggs Benedict was very nice. That was quite different because they actually presented on a savory waffle. Now, personally, I'm not a big savory waffle person. I know in the States when I was there, it's a big thing. People love putting things on waffles. But they put it on waffles. They serve it with, the hollandaise sauce. You can have it with salmon. You can have it with bacon and a poached egg, of course. That's, as Eggs Benedicts go. Then there was also an Eggs Florentine, which is obviously with spinach and mushroom. And there's also, once again, on a waffle, if you're into waffles. Then there was a prawn toast, which unfortunately I couldn't try because unfortunately prawns don't agree with me. But I do believe that was really delicious as well. And then they also had a version with it with chicken. But also the savory waffle, deep fried chicken, and sriracha sauce. How do you pronounce that, Vincenzo? Sriracha sauce. I don't know. We'll work on it. But you know which sauce I'm talking about. It's that really nice sort of spicy Asian one. Then there's the shakshuka. Now, the shakshuka is a highlight. I always enjoy shakshuka whenever I go somewhere. But it's fried eggs that they sort of poach in a delicious spicy tomato and bell pepper sauce, and they bring some toast with it. Always a winner. That, I must say, was really worth trying as well. Then they gave us something else which was quite different, which is duck cannoli. Now, you might know cannoli as an Italian dish, but what they did here is they took the duck breast, they shredded it, they put some hoisin sauce on it, and then they put it into these homemade cannoli tubes, which you might know sort of as like a pastry tube. And then they put almond crusted shells at the end, and they served it with tzatziki because it's a fairly rich and fairly sweet duck taste. So the tzatziki just kind of balances it out a bit. And I must say, I think without the tzatziki, it would have probably been a little bit too much and too rich. With the tzatziki, it kind of brings it all back into balance and sort of takes that harshness out of it. But it was a really delicious breakfast. I must say, it was really great to try all the different dishes and what they had. Didn't even have a chance to try their lunch menu, but I'll have to do that some other time, and dinner menu. But I recommend you go check it out. They've also got a wonderful art installation. They've gotten a great artist in to put together a mural, which sort of almost tells the very personal story. I know that Puleng briefly touched on it, saying that the name Math comes from his surname Mathabathe, and it's based on, the hardware store that his father used to have in Limpopo. And this mural tells that story about his past, his present, and then obviously people gathering in his new space. And as I suggested, you should make your way down there, go check it out. If you've got any plans to try another winter menu, there's lots to go around, and it was exquisite. Highly recommended. Right, that's all we have time for this week on the Sandton Times Hour, and is always available as a podcast on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or any other leading digital audio platform. If you want to get in touch, you can email edit@sandtontimes.co.za and connect on social media @Sandton Times. Also, check out the website, www.sandtontimes.co.za, and also get in touch with your questions and your comments. Thank you to all my guests who made the time to be on the show this week, and obviously all the teamwork that happens behind the scenes. Of course, thank you to you for listening, and let's do it again next week.
That's it for this week. Thanks for listening to the Sandton Times Hour. And if you enjoyed it, be sure to share it.